Hey, what's going on? I'm doing an update video. Look at that. All my mess. I have so much crap. A lot of it I avoid. I've had it shoved in this like a computer bag for a really long time. And so I've got lots of papers and everything that I've been trying to organize in my binder. If you guys haven't seen the last update video, if you go to my YouTube page, there's one on there that says I have an announcement, which was now done, I don't know, April sometime. So here I am again doing another update video for you. And I'm starting in on the book portion of IDIOT SAVANT. And I'm putting all of these papers into my binder that I made that I showed you guys in the last video. And today I wanted to talk to you about the concept of IDIOT SAVANT. If you're just tuning in now, IDIOT SAVANT is the title for the next STEVER CD. Haven't done a CD for a really long time. It's been since 07, 08 since I did one, and I'm ready to do another one. And so this has been a lot of fun. It's been a learning experience for me. It's been a maturing experience, and at the same time I feel less mature each day. So some silliness is going on for sure. I want to talk to you guys about where this idea came from, and for me, a lot of the times inspiration comes from music, poetry, something beautiful, or something really ugly. It's kind of the general, I don't want to say a rule, because of course there's inspiration from other things. Animals, of course, give a lot of inspiration. Friends give a lot of inspiration. But this record particularly, IDIOT SAVANT, I was inspired by a song I heard on the radio that I had heard 1,000 times before. It's a song by Supertramp called The Logical Song. And if you guys don't know it, it's just a really well-written song that tends to make you think. At least it did for me. I did a lot of thinking to the point of writing an entire album from it. So the record is written, IDIOT SAVANT is written, and what I'm doing now is I'm doing kind of chapter synopsis for the book. And I took the idea for the titles for the record and for this, for each of these chapters, I took from The Logical Song. And the words in The Logical Song, I'm not going to sing you the whole song here, but you could go check it out on YouTube or whatever. And but there was some words that popped out that I want to read to you. And you know, when he starts off, when I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, miracle, beautiful, magical. Well, those are the words that I started to write down, because they for me, took me right back to childhood, which is where I long to be, which is where I loved to be. Even though I do love this point in my life, I'm not going to say I'm just going to go back. I'm not doing high school again, that's for sure. That was awful. But that beginning of that song took me back to just when life was really grand. And he goes on to say the words happily, joyfully, playfully. Remember that, playfully watching me? And then they showed me a world where they taught me to be sensible, logical, responsible, practical. And then he went on to use words like dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. Then it starts to kind of take this weird turn. And then he says, what would you say they'll be calling you? A radical, a liberal, fanatical, criminal. So then it goes bad. You know, it's just like this, everything that started beautiful in all of our lives, I'm sure you guys feel that way too, just took this really bad turn. And then he used the words acceptable, respectable, you know, and I think John Lennon talked a lot about that too. It's just, you know, tighten up the tie and pull up the socks kind of attitude. And then he used the word presentable, and of course the song ends with you being a vegetable. The song, to me, I love the song, and I think this is what happens to a lot of us, is we kind of go through this cynical phase, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I don't think we were meant to do that. Even though everybody goes through that, it would be arguably, you could say, yeah, we were meant to eventually be that way, because everybody seems to go that way. But I don't think it has to end that way. And so this got me thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking And to the point where I said I'm doing my whole next record kind of just based on that inspiration. It's not exactly like that, of course, but just the childhood innocence. I can hear digging in the background. And that's my puppy. Hey, Sloppy! What you digging at? He's been really into the wood floor lately, which I don't think he can do a whole lot of harm to, but he thinks it's kind of fun. So we'll just let him do that. And he's going to take one for the team, right? Then I'll have to do 4 videos. I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh, okay, so I'm talking about all this, the synopsis I'm doing. Let's just skip to that one. I don't care what I was talking about before. What I did was I took parts of this song, and I thought this record has to be about a child getting back to innocence, and so I started to come up with, just if I can find in my notes, some working titles that I had, and I wanted 12 of them. So I went through and I decided I wanted to start it off back with innocence again. So my working title was Innocence for the very first song of the record. I also came up with kind of Newness of Life, which was another working title. And then I went on to have the second one as Enjoyment of Life. The third one I called First Level of Education. I keep it in mind, working titles are just that. I knew that these were not good song titles. My fourth one is Discipline or Responsibility. My fifth one was Second Level of Education, which I think we kind of have that, where just the way the curriculum changes. My number 6 working title was Skeptical. My number 7 one was Rebellion. Number 8 was Jail or Confinement or Sickness. I just, as far as ideas went. And then number 9, I said Reintroduced into Society. Number 10 was Coma or Brink of Disaster. And my number 11 was Healing or Transformation. And then my number 12 was called Element of Play. And these were the working titles that I had. As I got writing, I explored words, I explored things that were going to be within my storyline. As I've said to you before, this is a song about an idiot savant who, from the 1930s, his name is Ian. At that time, they didn't really recognize autism or things like that. And I do, there is someone in my family, in my extended family, who is autistic. And, that's, while I don't have a really close relationship there to fully understand, I do have some recognition of what went on. And so there's inspiration from several areas of my life. With Ian being in the 1930s, him starting off with this innocent and trying to get back to the element of play is a very difficult journey. And so I came up with the title tracks of the record, which is what I want to tell you guys about today. And I'll just kind of quickly go through, so this video isn't 25 minutes. The first title of the record, the very first song on the record, is going to be called Green. And this is kind of the newness of life. This is the inexperience. This is back to when you're having a clear mind, when you haven't fallen yet. It's you're kind of in an unstained kind of place. And the second one is going to be called Scatterbrain. And Scatterbrain is just, you're kind of just playing, and not everything's going the same direction as you are, but you are definitely playing, and that's that enjoyment of life. Idiot Savant is that first level of education. Back to just being a little bit more down to earth, trying to figure out what our talents are and where we can take those talents. The number 4 title I was calling Brass Tacks for a long time, and then the whole storyline took a big turn, and it's going to be called Serinetta, which is Serinetta, you guys will see, is going to be the theme song for the record. Even though it's not the title track of the record, will be the theme song. That's a song that's going to be for Ian. Now the 5th one I had called Gray Matter, which I have changed since then to Juggernaut. I don't have that one written down right here. It's going to be called Juggernaut. And Juggernaut is the place where Ian goes in the record. It's kind of his escape. And I'll talk to you a lot more about that later. Number 6 is going to be called Poking Holes. This is going to be a dedication to a little squirrel that visits his window. And so it's, you know, that's, it's a lot of fun. I'm dedicating that one to my sister who has squirrels who visit her, and I'm dedicating that to my friend Phil who lives in the UK who also has squirrels visit his window. And there's just something really very cool. There's a little bit of mocking that goes on with adults who don't understand that relationship that people have with those animals. The number 7 on the record is going to be called Jacquerie. And if you guys know anything about your history of war, Jacquerie, 1300s kind of French war. Go look it up. It's a long explanation on that one. But this is kind of where the place in the record where Ian is fighting back against these people who don't understand him, don't understand his relationship he has with animals, and everything he was kind of taught at that time. There's going to be a bit of a rebellion that happens. Number 8 is Blackguard. Now I had come up with that one out of, remember I said the jail or confinement or sickness. Somebody who's the line in the song is called "Dog Tagged as a Blackguard," and so this is where he challenges everything that's happening around him, but then it kind of they try to hold him down like a jailbird or a scoundrel or a barbarian. So there's some incarceration that takes place, there's some imprisonment that takes place in that part. The next record is called Full Length Mirror, and the relationship that Ian has with his mother throughout the record is really interesting. There is definitely somebody in my life who, as far as being a poor mother, I am likening this part of the record to. And she'll probably never listen to the record, so it doesn't matter. But it's not my mother, just someone that I know, their mother. So Ian has this very poor relationship with his mother, who again doesn't understand him. And she works at a job where her looks are very important, and the full length mirror is kind of Ian's way of bringing that to her attention. Number 10, I originally had called this one Comatose, but the whole story had changed in a way where Ian is going to have a relationship with another animal. You're going to see animals all through the record. I'm very careful right now about what I say and what I don't say and what's going to be confusing and what's not confusing, but still trying to let you in a bit. And that title of that song is going to be called Wee Bonnie Parker. Because it's the relationship that he has with this animal is kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde scenario, and so the song is going to be called Wee Bonnie Parker. And number 10, sorry, that was number 10. Number 11 is Virtuoso, and somebody on my Facebook page, I think it might have been Steve, brought up Virtuoso the other day, and I'm like, you don't understand how funny that is, because if you watched the last video, I had mentioned Ian having a relationship with an organ grinder, and this organ grinder I am patterning after Beethoven, and so this organ grinder is the Virtuoso, even though he was, I say, reduced to being an organ grinder, although that could be argued as well. He really was a very talented man in his day, and so the relationship that Ian strikes up with this organ grinder is a very special one. And that song is dedicated, for me it's dedicated to Beethoven, for Ian it's dedicated to the organ grinder. So Virtuoso is number 11. And the last song that I originally had called Element of Play is going to be called Crushing Copper. Crushing Copper is going to be that return to joy, even though the story doesn't necessarily end that way. It's, I think, something good to think about is that Crushing Copper, for those of you who don't know or who have never taken a penny out on the train tracks, is the return to innocence, and is just where our spirit does return to childhood. So that sounds like it ends on a happy ending, but it doesn't necessarily. But that's where we would like it to. So that's kind of what's going to happen. Green Scatterbrain, Idiot Savant Serinetta, Juggernaut, which I didn't write down on this sheet, so I have to keep remembering it. Poking Holes, Jacquerie, Blackguard, Full Length Mirror, and then Wee Bonnie Parker, Virtuoso, and Crushing Copper. Those are the title songs for Idiot Savant. So I'm going to leave that with you today because that's just like a lot of rambling and blithering. A lot for one day. But I'm going to tune in with you guys a little bit more often now that I've got my binder together. This crazy binder that's now super fat. It's got all sorts of stuff in it. You can look up on the last video again, see what I'm talking about with the binder. But it's a little bit more organized for the book portion that I'm writing with the CD. So this is what's going on over here. I'm just, you know, trying to keep a puppy under control and trying to keep my brain under control, and going through all this stuff has been heaps and heaps of fun. For me personally, I feel like I'm returning to childhood, and if in some way this can inspire you guys to return to childhood, that's really extra awesome, and that's what I'm really hoping to do with the CD, with the book, is cause people to think about going back there again. It doesn't mean we can't move forward on our journey. Our journey is our journey, and where we are is where we are. But just return to that feeling again of innocence, and where miracles are the norm, and where lovely things are lovely, and where the sad things we get over a little quicker because they are part of our life, and not allow these tainted people, you know, like what Ian's going to run into in his story, to take him off his path. So I feel like I'm thinking out loud and just kind of sharing with you as I go, and I hope you're not completely confused. That's what's going on over here. So I will tune in with you guys again next time, and if Sloppy's not busy digging at the floor, I'll get him in on the video as well. All right. Till next time, rock on.